the next challenge to non-proliferation treaty is from anti-nuclear force. Now this anti-nuclear force was signed between America and Russia in 1987, or America Soviet Union 1987, and America withdrew recently. Donald Trump announced that we are withdrawing from ANF. So that is again very disheartening news that now America would be going for updated technology for the missiles, and therefore there it would be again connected with this ANF with the modernization of China and Russia, and America took the plea as they are modernizing their equipment, so I am withdrawing from ANF. So I was talking about that NPT is the mainstay of the non-proliferation treaty, and it must be reviewed, it must be consolidated, and the rules should be reframed. After discussing NPT, I come to nuclear supplier group. I have already explained 1974 to deal with the exports of the nuclear component for the civilian purposes. There are 48 members, and you have to be signatory of non-proliferation treaty. Next is ANF. I have already explained, anti-nuclear force, which was signed between America and Soviet Union in 1987, and now America has withdrawn from it, and so this is a threat to the proliferation, because it will lead to the again arms race between America and Russia and so on. Next is FMCT 1993, Fissile Material Cutoff Treaty. फिजिल का मतलब होता है जिससे एटॉमिक रिएक्शन हो सकता हो, जो जैसे कि प्लूटोनियम है, यूरेनियम है, तो ये उससे डील करते हैं. फिजिल मटेरियल कट ऑफ ट्रीटी 1993. Now what this treaty stated, this treaty has not been signed so far, but anyway it was proposed by United Nations, and there were some objections to it, which I am going to explain. According to this treaty, all the countries, they had to sign and commit that they are going to cut off their stock or inventory of uranium and plutonium. By uranium I mean 93% uranium, highly enriched uranium. We call it highly enriched uranium, HEU. So the states pile up these elements to make bombs, and therefore the purpose of this treaty was to stop the stock of the explosive disease material. Now some countries, they objected, and Pakistan was also one of them. We did not sign. We said, what do you mean by cut off? Cut off का मतलब है आज से. तो हमें दुनिया को कहा जाता है कि आज से आप स्टॉक जमा नहीं करेंगे. That is cut off from 93 onwards. और जो 93 से पहले जिनके पास जो स्टॉक है उसको बीच में शामिल नहीं किया जाएगा, वो इंक्लूड नहीं होगा. अरे भाई वो इंक्लूड क्यों नहीं होगा? अगर टन्स ऑफ यूरेनियम अमेरिका ने स्टोर की हुई है, रशिया ने स्टोर की हुई है, इंडिया ने स्टोर की हुई है, और आप कहते कि नहीं वो उतनी रहेगी, आज के बाद पाइल अप नहीं करेंगे. वी ऑब्जेक्टेड टू दैट. वी सेड वी आर नॉट सेफ. द सेम रीजन दैट द कंट्रीज दे हैव piled up tons of this material, and therefore that should also be removed, and because of this reason the treaty could not be signed, and this debate still goes on. Finally, CTBT, Comprehensive Test Ban Treaty in 1996. Comprehensive test ban, no test economic test in the air, on the ground, under the water. The treaty was basically aimed at Pakistan and India's nuclear program, but anyway, both conducted a nuclear test and the treaty became useless. Anyway, it still exists over there. So these are some of the important non-proliferation efforts. Then there were some bilateral efforts which I am not going to discuss here, but I am just going to give you an information that the bilateral efforts, they were done between America and Soviet Union, because they both had made thousands of weapons by 60s and 70s, and they both started reducing their nuclear weapons by signing various treaties. So the very first treaty was signed in 1972. So START 1, then START 2, then you had SALT 1, SALT 2, etc. So they were between both these states, but these were international ones. Now let's move on to next subtopic, that is proliferation stage number 2. So the proliferation stage number 1 was when big five, they became nuclear, and they tried to stop rest of the world not to become nuclear through NPT. And then again, all these non-efforts, let's see, non-proliferation efforts, ये अपनी जगह एग्जिस्ट करती हैं, ये कोशिश हो रही है, yet we are observing the second phase of the proliferation. Now starting with India, 1998. India conducted first test in 1974 and the second test in 1998. Now India conducted the test because of the security concerns. I have already told you that it had security concerns from China, and China was part of Big Five. So India refused to sign NPT and refused to follow refused to take the measures for non-proliferation. And India now is a major threat in the region. And then it was Pakistan. Pakistan again had the same concerns that India is nuclear and you have bitter rivalry with India, and you have also fought frequent wars with each other, and the relations, they have always been volatile between both these states. And with nuclear India, Pakistan felt so much insecure because Pakistan was already cut into half in 1971 war during conventional warfare. So Pakistan was obsessed with its security problem, and therefore Pakistan pursued nuclear technology in 1998. Now there are some allegations, which are put on Pakistan, that Pakistan's nuclear program is not safe. Pakistan proliferated the nuclear technology in 90s. Pakistan transferred the technology in this phase to Libya, to Iran, to North Korea. And anyway, and then Pakistan's nuclear program, it also pinches the world because of this allegation, and number two, because they feel that Pakistan suffers from political instability, and the non-state actors in Pakistan, they can get access to these nuclear weapons, and if they get the access, they will use it. But that's why Pakistan's nuclear program is very dangerous, and the world has not reconciled with our nuclear program. We are still considered illegitimate. We are still considered as a threat to the world, and therefore America wants to dismantle our nuclear program for the same reasons, whereas we have tried to assure the world that we have the proof the foolproof system of international level, that our nuclear weapons, neither they can be hacked and nor they can be misused. But anyway, international world has its own observations. North Korea. Now North Korea had again security concerns. After 1952, American forces, they were permanently present, right, in the area. They were afloat, 87,000 American soldiers, for the security of South Korea and Japan. And both these were the capitalist country and being secured by America. And therefore North Korea, which was only Stalinist state or communist state in the region, felt insecure. And it had no option but to go nuclear, because it felt that in case of any conflict, America can also pass on the nuclear weapons to Japan and South Korea. And with the recent example going on in South China Sea and East China Sea, because of China's aggressive behavior and assertive behavior, America has given assurance to Japan and South Korea. And maybe they may be given the nuclear weapons, or Japan may be allowed to get nuclear weapons or to manufacture the nuclear weapons. So therefore North Korea became nuclear again for the same reasons, and then it improved its technology and kept on manufacturing missiles covering longer and longer distance. Nodong 1, Nodong 2, Tapadong 1, Tapadong 2, Musadong. Musadong, for example, can go 4,000 kilometers, and therefore now North Korea, Japan is concerned, South Korea is concerned, America is concerned. North Korea, it can hit Americans, Western states, it can hit Tokyo, it can hit South Korea, and it has also threatened that we will also hit Guam. Guam, which is an island in Pacific Ocean, and it has one of the largest American military base, 3,500 kilometers from Korea. And so these are the problems, that how North Korea is behaving and how it is, why it became nuclear, and how it is difficult for the world to deal with the North Koreans. There were talks. First of all, there were talks, 6-party talks, which were conducted with South Korea in 2003, but they could not succeed. And then last year there was a summit between Donald Trump and Kim Jong, and it was a very defining moment, and there was a possibility of making a deal, reaching a deal that North Korea will forego its nuclear program, right, in return of the sanctions which will be removed and economic assistance. But anyway, right, there was no major outcome of that meeting, and once again North Korea is behaving very irrationally and threatening its neighbors and America. Iran. I've already told you Iran was signatory of NPT and seems to have violated NPT. It was in 2002-2003 when American CIA for the first time observed Iran's nuclear power stations, and it gave the information that Iran has crossed the nuclear enrichment, uranium enrichment, by 20% at that time. Anyway, Iran denied that we have not. Iran said that we are, yes, we have enriched to 20%, but our program is for peaceful purposes. Now that was very interesting answer, because for the peaceful purpose you need to have 4 to 7% uranium enrichment level, not 20%. If you are acquiring 20%, that means that you are going right towards 93%. And now according to recent information, Iran has acquired 32% of uranium enrichment. And America, and then there were sanctions were imposed. Then the 6-party talks were also conducted in 2006, but again it did not give any result. So Iran faced sanctions, and then there was a nuclear deal which was signed between America and Iran in 2015. And according to that treaty, ultimately Iran was convinced and it decided to dismantle its nuclear program. And it also allowed the inspectors of International Atomic Energy Agency to inspect the sites. And in return, Barack Obama gave the commitment that the sanctions would be relaxed on Iran. And once again, the situation became upset. Situation became very disturbing when last year, once again, 2019, Donald Trump, he showed his dissatisfaction and displeasure on Iran's nuclear program, and he believed that Iran is violating even the US-Iran nuclear deal, and it is modernizing its missile program and nuclear weapons. And therefore, Donald Trump announced that America was withdrawing from this nuclear deal. Now, once again, Iran-US nuclear deal, basically it was not Iran-US nuclear deal, it was Iran and 5+1, 6-party talk. 5 permanent members of the Security Council: America, France, UK, Russia, China, and Germany. So deal was signed with Iran plus equal to 6, and America has unilaterally withdrawn from this deal, which is again, right? Okay, it's wrong. America should have consulted, and all these 5+1, they should have taken a collective decision if they want to abandon the deal or they want to continue with the deal. And when America withdrew from the deal, it was again interesting that they want to abandon the deal or they want to continue with the deal. And when America withdrew from the deal, it was again interesting that the European countries, who were the signatory, they refused to follow America, and they said that Iran is still abiding by the deal, and therefore we are not going to abandon the deal. And now the situation again, right? Iran is behaving very unpredictably, because Iran says that we have been forced by the circumstances that now we should go for the nuclear program, because there is no trust on us, and allegations, right, they are put on us, and therefore we are left with nothing but to have our own security program. And if the world is dealing us like this, we will go nuclear. So in the second phase, we saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 states becoming nuclear. Crumbling these efforts for the non-proliferation. On one side, these treaties, they still exist, NPT. On the other side, these countries which were not satisfied, with the rules and regulations, they have gone at their own